Okay, welcome back to the Tab Fan Bunker, episode 2, where the fans chat directly to the experts. We've got Willie Mason, Laurie Daley and Josh Reynolds, and we've got Fred, Kody and Mitch.
Just promise me that there'll be no injury.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens. I've got the run sheet here in front. Last time we got the breaking news as I'm asked the questions. That was devastating for that episode. But I want to welcome back Mitch as well. Mitch did the first episode with us. He was great. So we're stoked to have him back. And we've got two newbies, so Codes and Fred. So Mitch is a Panthers fan. Kody, unfortunately, he's had a tough week. He's a Tigers fan. And Fred, he's really happy because he's a Doggies fan. So he's stoked to be in here, and I gather it's going to be positive energy between him, Grub, and Mace. All right, let's get into it. Let's get straight into it. Mitch, you're the experienced campaigner from the fans, and you've got a question for Grub because you also had a similar question in the first episode, and you want to double down on it now.
Yeah, just want to re-ask. I suppose in the first episode of the Fan Bunker, I asked whether not having Penrith Park as a home ground would affect Penrith. We still haven't won away from Penrith Park in a home game, so I just want to get your feedback and see if any of your opinions changed.
Probably not, to be honest. No, I just think it's the way Penrith are playing. I heard Isaiah talk about it after the game. They're just not getting into their cycle, and that's knowing the same language that they use. Obviously, having Serrato at the Dogs now, that's all they talk about, and they haven't been getting into that set for set grind that we're used to. We were speaking about it back there. They're so used to playing from the front. They are so good at front running, and I just think that just hasn't happened this year. They got a really young team, really young team, and I think they're getting found out a few times, and they're just not. Yeah, they're just not the Penrith of old. I'm not writing them off at all one bit because I think they'll find their feet. They weren't great against the Roosters, but they were definitely more Penrith-like. And I just think they'll slowly build off that. You know, when you got Yeo, Edwards, and Cleary in the side, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. But look, mate, it looks weird having Penrith at that stadium, but I just don't. Yeah, look, I reckon if you ask them right now, all those boys, they would be like, nah. That's not the reason why. There's 10 other possible reasons why, but if you want to hold on to that, mate.
We'll just hope in September we don't play at Commbank.
It is. I will say though, when I do see it, it looks weird.
It's funny, like the first episode we did was focused around Vegas. This is going to be a little sprinkle of Origin with some Magic round put in there. Out of all the 4 teams that went to Vegas, they're the team that struggled the most, just on the ladder. Like you look at Canberra going really well. Warriors are playing good form after Vegas, and Cronulla started to find their groove as well. So who would have thought that after, doing that Vegas episode, that Panthers would be the team that sort of come back and struggle a little bit
What do you
more.
put that down to with Penrith? Like we've been trying to get to the bottom of it. Like with Cleary, missing some games, Edwards missing some games. Like I don't think there's ever been a time where Cleary hasn't had Luai, who's a perennial Origin player. Do you know what I mean? Like some of the greats, like the JTs and Andrew Johns and all those, they never really had like a player like that, like a Luai. I think he never usually traditionally touches the ball like more than 40 times a game, Cleary. Now he's like up towards 50 and 60 times a game. I think it's like changing his whole dynamics of the field, right? He's left and he's on the right. He usually just stays on the right, and Yowie does his little thing here. It's just the dynamic of that whole team has changed because of Luai. I don't think people really thought that he was going to be that important of a loss for their attack.
I think the Blaze Talangi, that was the best game he played on the weekend because there was times I was actually watching it like from above in one of the boxes, and you could see the Roosters loading up on Edwards and Cleary, and I was just saying, like, Blaze, please take it, because that's when Luai just took pressure off Nathan. He knew he didn't have to have many big moments in a game, but everyone he got, he nailed it. Sure, repeat set, left foot, take the line on. Whereas I think Blaze finally this week, he's only had 2 games. When I say finally, we'll give him more of a chance. But I just think slowly, he's just got to realise, mate, wide falls.
Wide falls is his go, right? That's what you're saying. Because Cleary and Yo, you're going to open the field up. They're like sort of testing him, going, come on. Like to Blaze, like he can really have a crack at that. And he did finally, and he found some joy. Like, but before that, everyone was sort of like, they're going, okay, we'll have 4 on the long side. Not really care about like Blaze Talangi, so he needs to be a threat. That's what I thought was going to happen. All right, they're going to leave him so much shape, and he's just going to carve you up. But maybe it's just take him a little bit longer.
Going to go to you, Loz. We've got a question here from Fred. He's a Bulldogs fan. He's got a question around the 18th man in Origin, how that's been.
Matty Burton.
Yeah.
It's always Matty Burton. And look, as a Dogs fan, and I know a lot of the Dogs fans share the same opinion, we get a bit annoyed when he misses out on playing club footy that week. Would you have any problems with the 18th man in Origin playing club football and then rejoining the group afterwards?
Depending on who it was and what position and what sort of role you would think they were going to have. Obviously, 18th man is a difficult one because you either go with a forward or a back, and you try. I would try and look to pick the best sort of guy that could play possibly a hybrid. Someone that could play in the back row if needed, or play out in the centres or out in the wing if required. I'd certainly be open to allowing them, in particular if they played earlier. Like if they played on a Thursday, Friday, I think that wouldn't be too bad. But if they were playing on a Sunday, I don't think you'd allow your 18th man to play. But certainly if it was a Thursday or Friday night, you'd be definitely open to allowing them to go back playing with their club and then coming back into the Origin camp. Because, the likelihood of them getting a game, probably a lot higher than what it's been in the past, but still they're not guaranteed a position. So, but I think at the end of the day, you're just going to pick who your best 18 are and then go with that. And if the club or the player wants to play and they're playing early, I'd give it some thought. But if it was late on a Sunday, no, I don't think there'd be an opportunity to go back and play club.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah.
Would it depend on the health of what your best 17 is as well, Loz? Is that that'd be a huge factor? If you had someone who was about 90-10, 80-20, because you're not going to carry anyone 50-50, right?
No, that's exactly right. So you would, although I'm sort of thinking if the player isn't right by the Saturday before a Wednesday game, I think it's too risky to use them. So I think you make a call as early as you can. I think you got to know the settled lineup, But if you got the 18th man there, that is a like for like, you probably can run the 18th man in that position right up until game night.
Yep.
And then if the guy doesn't come up,
maybe hold back
that's when you hold him back.
Yep.
And if he doesn't come up, he just slots straight back in. So you wouldn't allow that guy to play on the weekend for his club.
That's fair. Matty Burton. We'll see what happens.
As soon as he mentioned dog supporter and Matty Burton, I knew where it was going.
Mace, we've got a question here from Kody. He wants to just ask about this huge couple of weeks or at least 10 days that the Tigers been having and around the leadership of Luai and Taruva.
Yeah, sorry, mate. More Tigers. Interesting few weeks for the club, as always. Can never seem to escape it. Luai and Taruva are pretty active on social media last week, particularly through all this. And then the boys did the press conference last week as well. So my question is, what does that leadership look like from the inside? Like, is that sort of stuff communicated differently to the rest of the playing group?
I think if they had their time again, they'd do it different. They wouldn't be using social media that much. I can understand Luai's one because it was team first, but I don't like Taruva's. I don't think he's earned the right to even put something like that out. He's only been there for 6 months. He's only been in the game for 3 years. I know he's won a couple of comps, but like Luai's been around the block. He's been, he's played at the top level where, Taruva's was a bit personal, right, with the money and greed and everything like that. Like, and you just got to look in your own backyard where how you left the Panthers for what? You could be still at the Panthers, but why are you at the Tigers? Because you got more cash. So just have a look in your own backyard before you start putting stuff like that out. So I was a bit more disappointed in him. Luai's handled it great, right? I think because he's from such a great culture out there and it's been set, they've got all these pillars and everything like that. And what Galvin has done is totally against what he stands for. So he's been very vocal about it and he's been backing his coach, his team first, he's this and that, you know what I mean? Like, it's a bit of a shit show what they've done, how they've handled it, the Tigers have handled it, and how Galvin's management and the Tigers. I don't know how it got out, right? I do know how it got out because people just can't help but open their mouths and give it to the media. But, like, I think we've put a bow on it at levels and we're just like, he's in the team now. I think if they had their moment again, they wouldn't do it. A couple of things because emotions are high. When your feelings are hurt, right? Luai would have been shattered if that happened. You're like, oh, you little, you 19-year-old kid and this and that. Like, it would have been a lot going on through your head. They're lucky that, that's all he said, right? I hope to God they would have sat around the table on, yesterday and then decided to pick Galvin and go, are you all in? You're all in. All right, let's go. Let's have a crack for 2025. Shake hands like men. Don't let it dictate on the phone because it gives everybody a platform to talk, right? Lesson learned.
I also reckon from the Luai perspective, I found it a bit contradicting because, look, Jerome could have stayed at Penrith as well.
Yeah.
But he wanted to move out of Nathan's shadow. He said that a few times, and that's a decision. Good on him.
Yeah.
But Lockie, Galva made a decision as well, and he's allowed to do that. So I just don't think he should be made to feel like crap. Like him going into that, a 19-year-old guy, like he would, like he's obviously getting opinions from everyone at the moment. And look, he's made a big decision, and some people might not like it, but some people, people don't like everything. Like, so I just don't like it. I don't like that he had to go into training feeling that. It's not nice, man.
Can you imagine a 19-year-old kid like going through that? That's what I was just trying to think. I was like, imagine a 19-year-old and then you got two senior players that you love and you got Benji and everything like that. And it's been played out in the media, right? And granted, they're not probably looking at Galvin like everybody else is. They're probably going, let's just sit down, have a conversation like men and see how he's feeling. But like the perception of how it's put out in the media, how it's played, it's not good. Like, and he's got to come back into training and like, does he have to earn everyone's trust again? Like maybe not. I think we underestimate his decision, right? This is a ballsy decision for a young 19-year-old kid who's questioning the whole club and the development of the club, the coaching and the infrastructure of the club, looking at Stefano and everybody who's left that club in the last 18 months. There's a problem. He's a 19-year-old kid who just got offered $5 million and said no. So someone's feelings getting a bit hurt, isn't it? And it's not his.
To the question Codes is sort of alluding to, do you think the conversations have been any different in-house or do you think they've changed potentially with his selection as well, Codes? Is that sort of what you're getting at as well? Like, what about in-house rather than the perception?
I think that they've sat around like this and go, Benji's here and you got the leadership group and then you got Galvin and you ask Galvin, are you all in, son? Yep, shake hands. Let's just go. Let's go attack. I don't care what you do off the field as long as you put 100% on the field.
I don't know if they've done that, but
I don't know either.
Because you think they played Monday.
Yeah, I know.
Team got announced Tuesday.
I know.
Did they have time to do that in that time?
So I'm just trying
to. If anything, it would have been done first thing Tuesday morning.
Yeah,
right?
Something like that. If Benji's leadership was like that, and he knew he had to get that done, that would have been the first thing on his mind Tuesday morning. Whole leadership group meeting, recovery, whatever it is, get it all sorted, name the team, done. And I think that's how it should have been handled. And I hope to God it was.
Just out of interest, could they have done that pre-game? Like, do you think with the way they played and if different things, do you reckon that happened during the week prior to kickoff?
No, I think everyone just separate once they made that decision for Galvin. It's just like, all right, go play Reggie's, get away. We're going to play first grade. And then, we'll deal with it on Tuesday morning. I think that would have been said maybe on the Saturday or something like that.
By the way, I don't think Benji was thinking about Tuesday. I reckon it would have been about 6:35 p.m. after that game. Like, how do we quickly de-escalate the situation?
Can we put Galvin back in the team?
Yeah.
It's been an absolute garbage. I can't swear here. It's been an absolute. It's been an absolute it's been an absolute shit show. If they had their time again, I think they would have handled it a lot different.
I think everyone would,
learning
like to have
curves.
handled it. Yep. Loz, Mitch, you got a question for Loz?
Yeah, definitely. Mate, just in the lead up to Origin, I've heard you refer to it as coach fit. Can you just give us some insights into the different things you've been doing?
Look at the size of it.
Well, that's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. No, just some of the things you've been doing and the support networks you've been reaching out to in the lead up to Origin.
Yeah, just getting around and talking to a number of people that have been involved in the game, both as players and also coaching staff. Just getting up to speed with different trends that are occurring in the game. Games change year to year. And making sure that, I'm just up to speed. So, been getting out to a few games. Obviously, I'm lucky that I've got staff from NRL systems in my team. Having coaching meetings, just getting ideas from them about what attack looks like for us going into camp, what our defence system will be. And then, of course, we're at Craig sitting on top of us, sort of just looking and hovering and giving us a bit of advice when he needs to. So, and watching games a little bit differently to what I would do normally when you're not coach. When you're normally not a coach, you're just watching it like a fan. For sure. You're just watching it. But now that you're back as a coach, you're watching it completely different. So I'm not looking at it as someone just carrying the ball and someone just making 20 tackles. I'm actually watching to see how they tackle, where they end up in the tackle, how dominant they are in the tackle. When they carry the ball, do they land on their back? Do they land on their front? Do they have impact through the line? Little things like that I'm more looking at now rather than just watching and just getting numbers to suggest that someone's played well.
And are you looking at, obviously, the fitness levels of the game right now, especially for our middles? Like you're looking at a middle who can easily last 30 in the middle in the NRL. You're looking at little minutes like that, how good they are on kick pressure, kick chase, all those little things, right? That where Belly is the king about all that. So he'd be probably looking at all those things because the middles are probably one of the most important parts. And it's the balance. The Payne Haas is playing massive minutes, the Mitch Barnett's, and then like who else are the other middles available? There's a few. I mean, like I can't really. Terrell May, he hasn't been tested yet. He hasn't played Origin, but I think he's a future Origin player. But, like, pick your two props now. You got Payne Haas, you probably got Mitch Barnett, and then your lock is Isaiah Yeo in your middle. You got to be able to play. No, you got to be able to play massive minutes in the middle.
It's just funny to it's just funny to hear like selecting the team why we got the New South Wales coach here. It's just like a weird setup.
Obviously, Cam Murray's there. You got Liam Martin. You got all these guys who do the job for you. But it's the middle rotation. That's what we're like. If Payne Haas comes on, like who's that guy off the bench? Like last year, you put Olakau'atu on. He's not a middle. He's an edge player, mate. You got to put middles on at the middle. That's where I think we stuffed up, and he didn't look that good in Origin because Olakau'atu plays on the right edge. He doesn't go past the black dot, right? So there's a little differences there where you put a middle on as a middle, right? There's a lot of difference in that. Just because Olakau'atu has nearly pretty much picked himself sometimes, but then you're like, Liam Martin's the right side back row, and he's the best one in the world. So it's hard to pick him.
Can I just ask, since being back in the box and watching it as a coach as opposed to a fan like us, was there anything since last time you were a coach that you sort of took away and went, oh, wow, I didn't realise the game had evolved so much?
Yeah, good question. I think a lot more teams now over the last few years are getting back to playing a bit more open football and getting away from structure as such. I think that we went through a period where everything was very structured and you knew you'd get to a certain position on a field and you'd set up for certain plays. And it used to be always that block for a block for a block type scenario. Whereas I think now teams are using the ball more inside their own half to spread the defence because teams were just relying on wingers carrying the ball and going one out. So teams would compress their defence and try and get numbers in and dominate, because they'd know that the forwards would take time to get back on side. So I think teams now are trying to get people back, and they switch it up during games. Sometimes they just want their outside backs to do it, but other times they want to get back and be able to move the ball and switch from both. So that's something interesting and trying to play off ruck speed. And I think teams are looking to play a bit more over the advantage line, flat and fast if they get to play the ball. And in particular, hookers are so fast or so great at identifying someone on the ground or one marker, and any time that's occurring, they're out. but you need to have good push on either side of the ruck with you, rather than an opportunity arises, but you're telling someone to get to a certain position on a field because you're setting up for a play. I think that's starting to go out of the game a little bit more.
So much more fatigue.
So
over
much
it.
better.
Yeah,
Fatigue.
well, it's fatigue, and it's more ball in play.
Yep.
And do you
that's the
reckon
other thing.
because the players have evolved and just gotten fitter? Like the 6 to go rule really just rattled a lot of like a lot of us, and just went, okay, we'll just get our back 5 to get us out of trouble. Now we're like, no, middles are fitter, back rows are getting back, the middle, like the back 5's getting back, and they're playing footy straight at you. Like Melbourne will have 3 or 4 shots at you all the time. So that's, I think, the evolution of the game. It's been great.
Yeah, and there's a bit more space, So the speed of the game is massive now.
Can I just ask you a personal question? How much? No, just a inner sanctum. Yeah, right. How much is Craig Bellamy on? Because I reckon Mace could take his job for a quarter of the money. He's just picked a team for you.
And the game plan.
All for free.
Yeah, get him back.
Give me a matchy.
Matchy.
Grub, keep that. Keep that, Grub. Because Fred's got a question for you about the Dogs and their spine.
Yeah, after losing in the finals last year and throughout the lead up of the off season, a lot of question marks were put on our lack of an experienced top level spine member. With how we're going right now, do you think that's still necessary in order for us to be successful?
No, I honestly don't. And I know this is the question, right? Everyone's saying, is Toby Sexton the 7 that can win you a competition? And I just think you have to watch his game this year. I really think he's evolved. And look, that is a big game last year. As a young guy, as a young squad, to beat a fairly, like Manly last year, Cherry Evans has won comps. A lot of those guys have been in big games. But it's always easy to blame the halves, and I honestly don't even think you could have blamed Tobes for that game. I just think that was one of those games. We actually should have won that game. Yeah. We actually had momentum, and but just a couple of little moments. But to be completely honest, if you look at Toby Sexton, Reedy, and even like Bailey Hayward stepped up this year, and Connor Tracy, mate. You look at the Bulldogs right now. You don't really need a superstar in that system because everyone's doing their job. We're a different team to the likes of Penrith, where Nathan is so dominant. He's so dominant. If Nathan's in that team, they're going to nearly win every game. But with us, you just look at the product. The perfect example is Bailey Hayward coming against the Sharks at Shark Park and literally looked like a natural half. And he's not even a half. But why is that? Because he knows his role, he knows the system, and everyone else knows the system. And I honestly feel even Tobes' game this year, he's running the ball a lot more, and he's being an actual threat. And then you got Connor Tracy, a guy who's pretty much, we were talking about Kurt Mann before. Connor Tracy's a bit the same. He's been to the Shark. He was always that utility, but mate, he's grabbed that one jersey, and I wouldn't be changing him anytime soon. Like I feel he knows that brand of like Dogs footy that we're playing, and you honestly throw in a gun fullback into that side, and it might not suit him because they want to touch the ball so much. But all you got to do in that team is do your role. Know your role, and we'll be right defensively, attackingly, and I love our spine. It's a different dynamic. You've even got Reedy this year being real crafty around the ruck. He's really getting the boys in behind the ditch, which is creating quick play the balls that you spoke about before. And sometimes it's not always about these big plays and whatnot. It's about being on the ad line, taking energy out of the defence, Birdo putting them in the corner. That's the game.
Yeah, like I don't see 17 individuals out there. I see one unit, one team. And do you think bringing someone in like Daley, Cherry Evans, or an elite fullback like Ryan Papenhuyzen would interrupt that flow, interrupt that team?
It's a great question. Yes. I don't want to say it would be great because it could make it better. You know what I'm saying? That's all. Yeah. But then they'll learn the system. And when you put an elite player in there who wants to buy in, I think that's the thing at the moment. They're all buying in. They're all, there's all Origin talk, and at the moment there's a lot of Doggies players that are being mentioned, but they wouldn't be reading that. And I know I've actually been in that group. They're just a great bunch of guys, and when you've got that, you don't necessarily, I feel, need a big name. Yeah, they help. Absolutely, they help. But, we're speaking about Toby at the moment. Like, he's slowly just getting better week by week by week, and the narrative's changed. You know, like it's Bulldogs fans, they're ruthless, mate. They wanted me gone every second week because I had a brain explosion every third week. But then, you know, when you do the little things right and do the little things right week by week, and that's what I feel Toby's doing.
Do you think he was a product of the game, rushing the schoolboy 18-year-old straight out of like school, straight into first grade of the Titans, and like he's the next big thing coming into that system, and then playing a couple of really good games and then getting the big contract, and then like it's just so much pressure on a young kid like that, and some just don't live up to it. He's 23 years old now. The maturation process is starting to begin now. Like 5 years in the game, now he's going to start learning all these little things that, you know, he's not going to have the massive big play, but get your kicking game right, get your defence right, get the ball back every now and again, play the right play, and he's doing that. What else do you want from your 7? I'm not sure what else. He's been copping a fair bit, and there's been rumours like, you know, like Galvin's coming, DCE's coming, and like he's the one who's on the chopping block, isn't he?
Ben Hunt last year.
Ben Hunt coming, everybody's coming. It's just like, let's just take our time with this kid.
It's just what happens at the Dogs, mate.
Exactly.
Halves are always coming.
Halves are always coming. Terry Lamb's coming back.
Forum was always
Everyone's coming back.
every year. Nah, but you know what though? I will say about Toby, the one thing I'm hearing big raps on him is his communication, and that's what you want as a halfback. You need to communicate, and it's not crap talk. Yeah. It's knowing the exact game plan, why you hit someone short there to come on the back. You know, why you're talking to Reedy, I want to generate some ruck speed here to do this so we can get to that edge. And apparently he's doing that. So if he's doing that in that system, mate,
and a cracking dude.
Legend, yeah.
That's what you need from your 7.
Yeah, so mate, I'm extremely happy with him. I love him. I think they're going to get better week in, week out, and winning 6 or 7 games in a row gives you a confidence. You go into games knowing you're going to win. It's crazy. Like tomorrow night, they play the Broncos, and I'm telling you right now, they'll be sitting in their hotels right now, confident as anything.
Yeah, and at 23, he's only going to get better, right? So hopefully we lock him off.
Can you confirm as a fan too that you're frustrated at him every second week too, Fred?
I remember I think he debuted against Canberra, and I was like, and he blew away a penalty to make us lose the game.
His name's Hectic Fred for a reason.
But he made up for it with
Hectic Fred.
No, but he made up for it when he did that thing against Manly, mate. Right at the end of the game.
Codes, grab the mic, mate. You got a question for Loz. This is the last one for all the rep stuff for you, Loz. So,
Loz, I imagine it's a privilege coaching some of the best players in the game at Origin level. What's that like, managing the different egos when the boys come into camp and like getting them to buy in?
I think it's pretty easy. Obviously, when you're coming in, you're playing with all the best players. So they respect each other, which is great. And they also know that you've got to have some people in charge of the systems you've got in place that you want to utilise on the field. So for me, that's all about your key players to get your attack going. So you've got to understand that your halves in particular, they're the ones that have to sort of do a lot of work in being able to control the team. So they've got to be able to be dominant, and they've got to be confident in their directions. They've got to be confident in telling people where to go, what to do, regardless of their stature. You know, I think that, you know, it can be difficult if you're a young half coming in and seeing some superstars in the forwards and experienced forwards and not being confident to tell them what you expect from them, but you have to because that's your job and that's what the state needs you to do. So it's just all about knowing that when you come into this group, it's about the team. It's not about being the individual. It's about doing the right thing for the team at the right moment and making sure the people that are entrusted to do the things that the coaching staff want them to do and are in charge of delivering that, you follow their instructions. And I think that's pretty easy at this level when you've got the best players.
And does that come into the selection process at all as well, knowing players, or I don't know, say you have players that you know that can buy into that system?
Yeah, probably. I've got to be confident in the system that I'm going to put out there. I've got to know the players that will best suit that. That's the way I look at it. And there's always speculation about why isn't this bloke in the team or why isn't that bloke. And sometimes everyone's got a different opinion. There's never going to be someone that misses out that, that just was a standout. You're never going to leave out the standout. But if it comes to someone, and there's not much difference between them, you probably tend to, well, I know, I do. I'll lean towards the person that I think can do the role that I'm looking for better. And that's what I'll look to do when I'm selecting the side.
Mitch, got a question from Mace about the first 7 rounds for Penrith.
Yeah, I suppose we've probably bookended 5 of the worst games we've put out there in the last 6 years by 2 pretty good performances, both in Vegas and then on the weekend. What things do we probably need to continue to turn around to, I guess, make the 8 for starters and then compete for 5?
It's been so confusing, and just watching him play from that first round in Vegas, I went easy, minimum prelim. I thought what they did to Cronulla. I was like, Cronulla was supposed to be like a top 4 team, and they just dished him up. I was like, far out, they're going to do it again. And then they just come over here and was just really got humanised, right? And then Cleary got injured, Edwards got injured, and then they just couldn't get on a roll, and they started getting beaten. Just didn't look good. I honestly still think that they're going to go on a bit of a roll, and then they're going to come to a halt in Origin because they're going to have 5 or 6 key players out, and they don't have 5 or 6 players to go bang up. Where you got Fisher, Harrison, Leota, Sorensen, and all these blokes just to come in there and fill the gap pretty easy. They've got no one. They've got a young, not saying no one, but they've got just those bench players that'll come on and do a job. That whole aura has gone in my eyes. Players are going into games going, they're beatable. It's not like it was the 2023-24 Penrith side where it's just like, good luck. I hope they're off so we can get it, so we might be able to get them. So I'm not sure what they can do. Cleary needs to play pretty much like he needs to get Dally M for those blokes to get out of what they're going through.
The next one is for everyone, and it's from Fred, and it's around. We're going to get to Magic Round now.
I've just got a question for you guys. A team always misses out on Magic Round. My solution to that problem would be to move the World Club Challenge to Magic Round. There is a bit of a negative in they've got to play an extra game, but it still counts as a bye. But what are your boys' thoughts on this?
I think it would be difficult because you're in season. I think the English side, if they travel to Australia in season, it's a big disadvantage for them.
Yeah.
And it's late notice because you won't find out who the 2 winners are of the competitions until October. I don't know how long it takes to do the draw. The other one that I thought they may be able to do was to play that World Club Challenge at the start of the year in Vegas. I think if they were ever going to get it aligned, that might be the weekend rather than the middle of the year. Yeah,
they need to do that, I reckon. They get the a Pommy team there and then just two NRL teams. They only need 3. But I think it's not a bad thing. I want a team having a bye. I just want to know like who gets the bye, who's having the bye this year.
So we've got Manly. So we've got no Turbo and no date.
So you want your superstars there. I think it should be like whoever gets the spoon gets the bye in the Magic Round. And all they have to do is really wait another couple of years until the PNG comes in, and that's 18 teams. Yeah. So they just have to make do for the next 2 years, and then it'll be fine. No one's going to be whinging about it. It's not a big deal. One team's just going to have a bye on the Magic Round. I know it's great for everybody to be there, but I still think it should be the Wooden Spooners, not a team like Manly or a team with great support. And I want to see Turbo play. I want to see DCE play. I want to see Superstars play. I want to see all these guys. I want to see the Tigers.
He's spitting facts, man. He's spitting facts.
Codes, you're up after that one, mate, and you've got a question around Magic Round as well for Grub.
Yeah, Grub. I was wondering, with how detailed I imagine preparation is each week for club teams, is it hard for the players to stay focused coming into big weeks like Magic Round and even Vegas?
Vegas is different. I haven't done it, but because
surely it's got to be harder in Vegas.
Well, my version of Vegas compared to what the boys are probably doing. But mate, Magic Round, no. All you got to think is all the boys are doing is playing Broncos in Suncorp at Suncorp. We're doing it tomorrow night for the Dogs. So for Magic Rounds, it's more for the fans. It's more for the fans to go there, embrace it, get on the beers, have fun. Footy, all footy at the same ground. It's a great experience. But for the clubs and the players, mate, it'll literally be get in, get the win, and get out. That's sort of what they want. Because really, you don't want to. You don't want to really even stay that night because
out of there.
you want the boys to get out. But mate, Vegas would be different. Like just because of the flight, and being in America, we've seen a couple of interesting things happen over in Vegas, Loz, with your mob. Yeah. It's just little things like that coaches just go, we don't need that. We really don't need that. But it'd be hard, mate. If I was in Vegas at that age, 100% I'd want to go and have a beer. Yeah. That's just, honest. Like, I would love to. But at the same time, we have a tendency to carry on sometimes. And, but there is a game to play. But I think, it's hard.
I'll tell you what I reckon the players have responded really well to the Vegas trip because the level of intensity is different to a first round game, a typical first round game. So I do, I've been there twice now, and I feel like all four sides that compete over there treat it with the respect that it deserves. Yep, and then I reckon Magic Round, everyone does the same as well. They know they're going to Brisbane. They know they're all up there. The eyes are on them, and they don't want to stuff up. But they also know people are going to watch. It's going to be a big crowd, and they know it's got to be a big performance from them. And I think both teams, whoever's playing each other, rise to the occasion.
Big part's the crowd's loss, I reckon, because like if you're a team that's been struggling throughout the year, and then you get to Magic Round. You get to play in front of 30,000, just say, at any given time during the day. If you're not used to those crowds, you're going to get up for that, aren't you?
Yeah, and the other thing with those teams that are struggling, people love the underdog. So if you're there supporting a team and your team's not playing and the underdog runs out, all of a sudden they feel an urge of satisfaction because they've got people there supporting them, which they might not have during the year, But, it's interesting. I always found the bigger the game or bigger event, the more you got up ready to play. I always found, I don't know about you blokes, and I know times have changed and there's a lot more goes into the psyche of your mindset. But I always found like the week before, say, an Origin game, I always found that difficult to get ready to play. Because in the back of my mind, I knew that State of Origin was coming up and I didn't want to get injured the week before Origin. I don't know whether you felt that at all.
No, I did. I think with games like that, when you want to be part of Origin, and you're like, you got that one game before it gets selected and you're like, you're still going to front load and you're going to go as hard as you can, but it's like, it's still in the back of your mind. You put it in the back when you've got the ball and you're doing whatever with the ball. And you're making your tackles, but you're still thinking about it. It's not like you're missing tackles or anything, trying to get through it, but it's in your head because it's like one little injury, you can just miss the whole Origin series. But yeah, big games like that. I mean, like Magic Round, Vegas. It's the atmosphere. It gets you up. You'd have to have no soul if you're just playing in Vegas and you can't get up for that game. That's why the games are so high level. Magic Round, high level, you know what I mean? Like just any sort of atmosphere. If you're getting like 50,000 all Origin games, like if you can't get up for those games, don't play these games.
How did you feel after 2014 when we won up there in Brisbane, game 1, and then the game before game 2? Did you find that a weird experience playing for the Dogs and having what Mason and I just spoke about?
Yeah, I was actually going to say mine was a bit different because I was never really a lock to play before Origin, if that makes sense. So I wasn't really, I just played. And so like I was never like a...
But you would have felt like you were a lock to play the game too.
The game too, sorry.
Yeah,
the game, but I meant before I'm just doing my best. And then, because when Horo and I got picked, it was actually, a bit of a shock because there was, there's always stuff in the media and whatever. Lucky I come over and gave you that little hug before, so you selected me. I was going to say something different there, but but in the week though, I will say I was petrified, like of Origin, absolutely pretended that I wasn't, but I was so scared.
It'd be hard not to when you come through that crew and what Queensland were like in 2014. I mean, I come through the 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they were out 13, like just say 11, 12, 13. They were killing us. Like they weren't like just like it wasn't even. It wasn't, you know what I mean? Like right now, it's even. Like we don't know who's going to win this Origin series, you know. But like back then, for those 8 years, there was about 3 or 4 where it was like they need like I want GI out. I want like JT's get one of them's going to go off, right?
Yeah.
It was a scary moment. You're a young half, right?
Yeah.
Coming through, you got like Lockie maybe still being Lockie just retired. Yeah, Cronk and yeah, JT, GI. Like it was disgusting their team, and you're just like, I hope they have an off day.
No, it was.
We have the best day.
You know what? But though that game that's the hardest game I've ever played. Game 1 at Suncorp. Fast.
Yeah.
That was my first. Like I just missed it, to be honest. Like I just was like, what happened then? But I defended and whatever. But you know what, mate? That second game, coming back, I actually felt way more confident playing that game because I'd never felt like that before. But we won and got through it. Yeah. But there was that nerves though. There was because it was like we had a chance. Yeah. We had the chance. It was our chance then. It was our chance. Like we won the first game at Suncorp, which is very
impossible.
Rare. Literally
nearly impossible back then.
But it must have been our coach.
It must have been what I said.
It was fun.
So just off the back of that, and it's probably a question to all three of you, but just talking about detailed preparation. So we talk about going to Vegas and Suncorp. Obviously, game 2's in Perth. How important is it to keep your preparation just as normal as possible, I suppose?
Yeah, well, it's hard. It's hard. But both teams are at a disadvantage because obviously the travel, time factor, and a lot of your prep you're doing against opposition. So when you get to Perth, you're not going to have those opposed sessions against quality sides. But again, both sides go through it. So it is a little bit different and it can be challenging, but it's the team that handles the challenges that you confront the best that'll come out on top during the game. But you can't have any excuse. You know, both sides will get over there. Both times will have plenty of time to settle in. You just got to nail your prep. Obviously, taking the game to Perth, a good fan base over there. It'll be sold out. A lot of people are disappointed that they take a neutral game, Origin, to a neutral venue every year. But I must say, I used to think like that. But now I think our State of Origin game has outgrown that mentality. It's an event, so everyone in Australia should get the opportunity to watch it.
I was there last time, and we went over. New South Wales went over about 3 or 4 days before Queensland got there, and we beat them by we give it to it, but by I think we put 40 on them, and I think it was the acclimatisation. Like it was like because I was over there for about 5 or 6 days. It took me about 3 or 4 days just to like get with the body clock and everything like that. Queensland didn't go over there till I think maybe 3 or 4 days. Freddie took them over they had the whole week, so I think it takes more than 3 or 4 days to acclimatise your body clock and everything like that. So. It's a tip for you, Loz.
Last one, Fred. The last question's for Mace.
Yeah, has the acquisition of Travis Touma been as impactful as bringing in someone like Serraldo or a big-name player? We're one of the fittest teams in the comp now, and that's pretty much started since 3 years ago when Travis came in.
Yep, I think so. I had Travis at the Roosters in 2008, and he's a special unit. He trains hard. He'll rip in as hard as you. He's about that. When I was there, 2023, like he got dealt a team that just wasn't up to his sort of standards. You know what I mean? Fitness wise and like strength wise, everything like that was just like he was very frustrated, and so was Ciro. And they knew it was going to take like 2 or 3 years to build to where they are now. You've got to be a special sort of player to play the style that we play. It's high energy and it's very taxing, right? Like that's why guys like Kurt Mann and Curran and all these guys that are really fit in the middle work hard from the inside. They come up, everything's a sprint, you know what I mean? They work so hard from the inside. So you need to be super fit and super strong. And that's Travis Touma. He's all about that. Ruben, who's a sprint coach, they've got a really good S&C recovery, all that sort of stuff like at the moment now. And because they do a lot of work, they train hard. So everything they talk about, these grinds, 7-minute grinds, like they just non-stop, like are playing at this level where your heart rate sits at just say 180 for 7 minutes, right? And it's like Grubby knows about it because he was there in 2023, but we couldn't even put 4 or 5 minutes together of that. Now they're putting like 8-9 minute high speed grinds, they call it, where the ball's in play and you're playing against the other side, which are nearly as good now. Like I was there last week and they put like 2 or 3 tries on the first side. You know what I mean? Like that was just proper. That was our Reggie side.
Like scrimmage.
Yeah, it was proper scrimmage, and it's like they're going against. I always say iron sharpens iron. Now it's actually happening, you know. But they're fit. You know, these high speed grinds. The ball's not out of play. They don't put the ball out of play. It's completing sets. It's nearly going at like 80-90% of like they say middles go at 100, right? You never really go at 100. You're sitting there about 90%. Like with contact, you just don't blade the legs. All these things like. It's pretty intense, but it's taken what 18 months, 24 months to get to this level, right? So when you recruit players at the moment, you're recruiting Bulldog players like they used to, right? You're not here for a little holiday anymore, grab your big dollars and then just piss off, right? You come in here, you're working hard, and if you don't, and that's the way they recruit. Ciro, Gus, Travis Touma all sit down. Does he suit how we play? No, don't worry about him. So that's why they set standards at the club now, and it's pretty high, and it's back to where it was.
Do you think this level of play is sustainable? Like we've obviously got like one of the best line speeds in the comp. We always hit with contact numbers and
look at Penrith. Penrith, it is sustainable. Penrith can still do it. Look at Melbourne. Melbourne's been doing this for 20 years, man. Doing it for 20 years. You just got to have the right people with the right infrastructure, the right players, and recruit the right players. The pathways need to be all this. You got Grubb there, I'm there, Mark O'Mealy's there, Josh Jackson's there, Steve Turner's there. We're all around the club trying to help the club get better, right? Trying to make these young men throw them up to Ciro, so yeah, he's all right because he's come through us. Because like we know where Ciro's eyes and ears down there because he can't be everywhere, right? So it's like that's how you build clubs because that's what Gus did out there, and that's what Ciro was part of. He's the mastermind of defense out there, and it's like. It's happening right now, right?
It's all about buy-in too. Like, speak about that 2023 season when I was there. This was my last year, and there just wasn't guys there who were buying in. Yeah. And then that's it. You got to filter them out. And Ciro said that before because, you know, maybe those guys thought that, what is this? What is this type of training? Well, the other way you got to think of it is, you're just not up to it. And I love that. I love that it got back to that. I wasn't up to it at that point in my career. That's just me being honest. But if I was a young guy getting into that system right now at 18 years of age, I would have loved it.
And I was just around, right? And the coaching staff questioned themselves. They're like, are we doing the right thing? Ciro and even Travis and Rubes, they're like, they're not getting it. These players aren't getting it. And they were sitting around like this and just like going, and I'm just sitting there going, I didn't really know what to say. I was just, you know what I'm like? I'm like, get everyone out, pretty much. Start again. And then, so pretty much from that 2023, so there's only about 4 or 5 left. You know, and from 2021, no one's left. So 2022, I think Max King and everyone was there. Max King was still there. Only a couple of others. But they've really, you got to buy in. You got to be a different sort of person to be at that club. And same as Penrith, same as Melbourne, same as all these all these really, top 4, top 8 clubs. And everyone's doing it. Canberra's doing it. You know, the standard is gone up and up and up and up. So if you've got the right caliber of players and you've got a coach and you've got everyone, you can sort of just, the detail in the game, everything like that, you can make a big run for it.
All good. Well, unfortunately, moving forward for the Tab Fan Bunker, we're going to have to filter Loz out because you're going to be a little bit busy. So going into the Origin, mate, just want to wish you all the best. A big thank you for joining us on the first 2 episodes, and good luck for the series. We've got all New South Welshmen here, and everyone behind you at the table will be behind you.
Thanks very much, guys. It's really exciting for us. Only a month away before we go into camp. It's been great to be on. I'm sure I'll be on at some stage
after we win.
After we win, that's the plan. It's going to be a tough challenge, obviously, but really excited, and I'm sure that the team we select will go out there and play particularly well. And we need to because it's got to be tough up there at Suncorp Stadium. But it's a challenge we're all looking forward to, and I know the state will be behind us. But thanks for having me on.
Awesome.
Cheers.
Thanks, Loz. Thanks, Mace. Thanks, Grubb. Fred, Kody.
Awesome, guys.
Thanks, boys.